It's party time. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. Tuesday, it is Monday's hangover. We will get to some of the things that we did not get to yesterday, but I want to start off with this very provocative statement. Brandon and Joe are at the helm of the mothership, driving us into the nether regions of all things insanity. Brandon, I'm going to toss this out there, see what your initial thoughts are.
Yeah.
Men are better than women in every way. In every single way.
Yeah, other than the vagina part, I agree.
But you can give them one.
That's true. With the work these lovely surgeons are doing these days.
You can get a vagina.
Yeah.
And who's to say you can't make it a better vagina?
Hey, these Dr. Manglas are getting pretty good, I gotta admit, you know? Give them 10
Dr.
years and who
Manglas.
knows where the tech will be.
I mean, women go in and get vaginal rejuvenation after they've spit out 3 or 4 kids.
Yeah, personally, I'm putting my money on the sex bots replacing the women.
Okay, which
Yeah.
were probably created by men.
Of course.
I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't have the science or the research to back this up, but I bet all the best female sex toys are made by men, too. Oh, speaking of which, probably created by a man right here. Just so y'all can remember that sound right there on the microphone. There's probably some of you that just watch this show just for that. But, and I know there's those of you out there saying, oh, no, women are better at giving birth. Well, not if you read the news these days. A case in point, what I'm getting to, there's a story out of Kansas City. I was in Kansas City this last weekend. I love going to Kansas City. Absolutely fantastic weekend of shows. Ready to come back. But Kansas City, Missouri, they have now twice crowned a male homecoming queen. Now imagine being the biological girls who lost to this mother. Whatever. They've given the homecoming queen to a male student who dresses as a female. Second time the school has given that award to a boy. Now, help me understand something, those of you in the room. Isn't homecoming queen, isn't that voted on by the student body? Typically, traditionally, historically, hasn't that been? Yeah, I think that's the way that goes. So, excuse me, men sneeze better than women too. So I don't know, you know, that right there. Let's see what it says. It says, the long-standing tradition dates back 2015 when Oak Park crowned Landon Patterson with the prestigious title. Somebody said he's a cute boy, but a beautiful girl. What the hell? He's a cute boy, but a beautiful girl all along. Since Landon was little, we knew Landon was different. Now, shouldn't we be offended by that? I mean, if we're normalizing this, how can we say that Landon was different? For instance, I often am quoted and misquoted by making simple statements like God created men and women, that's it. And people on social media love to remind me that there are statistical anomalies, these, fringe parts of our population, these statistical non-existent humans that have, hermaphroditic qualities. Maybe they share 2 different genitalia. Maybe the whatever going on inside of them doesn't match what's going on the outside of them. But again, that's not what we're talking about, is it? Is it? We're not talking about. We're talking about boys who were born with a penis and testicles and no mammary glands, and they were 100% DNA proved to be biological males that are now choosing to dress like a girl, whether it's androgynophilia, maybe they get a little turned on by wearing a dress and makeup. Maybe they really are mentally confused in that they don't quite know who they are biologically and anatomically. And so they begin this, for lack of better terms, and this will piss people off, and I'm okay with pissing people off, especially in this case. They begin this charade of dressing up like a girl. Now, if they're just living out their true self, as the woke mob out there would have you believe, if they're just living out their reality and owning their truth, Well, then how is it that we could say they're different? And the fact that those of you online would come to me and say, oh, there's hermaphrodites, and you list off all these other words that you learned on the internet. Well, if that's so normal, well, then the simple question is, why isn't it more normal? That's like saying you believe in the theory of evolution, and you're pointing to all the scientific evidence of evolution, but there's no missing link. Like, there's no monkey boys out there. Like, you would think after all these millions of years that the different genus and species would have a little bit of crossover, and you wouldn't be looking around going, we seem to be pretty uniform in our genetic makeup. So if Landon is not normal, then isn't that a little bit bigoted to say that?
Also, I remember the story of the last male twin homecoming queen that we covered, and that young fella ended up with AIDS a year later.
Yeah, because they're gay.
Yeah, not a great track record of male homecoming queens and their lifespan expectancy.
No, but let's call it what it is. And again, you can label me as being a big bad meanie. Let's label what it is. This is a hypersexualization. This is a fetishization of abnormal proportions. It's transgenderism. If it was so normal, then why would there be headlines about it? Well, we knew Landon wasn't normal. He liked to tuck it. I'm just living out my truth. But, yeah, so here's where I'm going with this. Right across the border from Kansas City, in Kansas, they have now prohibited the change of a resident's gender on the resident's birth certificate. This is after a legal battle between the Attorney General and the state's agencies. Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach won a lawsuit to stop state agencies such as the Kansas Department of Health and Environment from allowing gender changes on state documents, which was previously allowed for those who believe they are the opposite gender. So you can't be switching up your birth certificate, which, again, is not about being mean. It's really about being safe, because they kind of need to know what you are. Because if you get brought into the emergency room and they have to do an emergency surgery on you, give a shout out, Steve, to our buddy. Steve's not in here; he left. Our buddy Jason Kahn. He's a fishing guide over at Lake Fork, and he almost kicked it the other night. He posted on social media. We go fishing with Jason when we can. He posted on social media that he had extreme bowel or abdominal pain. He got him to the emergency room. His appendix had ruptured. Did you read that about Jason Kahn the other day? Our fishing buddy? Almost lost Jason because his appendix had ruptured. Now, if he'd have been a biological female that, it was on his birth certificate, they could have seen what he is, even if he'd have come in unconscious or in so much excruciating pain. They could have checked a lot of things. Like they could have seen, hey, maybe he's got a cyst on his ovaries. But again, he doesn't have those. So it's kind of safe to know what you are if they show up on the scene of the accident and your body's spread out on the side of the road and they need to know how to treat you. So it's not about being mean. It's about being safe. It's about being smart. So in Kansas, they've said, now you can't be changing stuff up anymore. Now, they did say that if you've already changed your gender on your birth certificate, you don't need to immediately seek new documentation. It's like when you go to the airport and that by March of 2024, you're going to have a real ID. And what's to be said about that, right? What's to be said about that? How do we know who's flying on our airplanes these days? We got in an Uber last night. I don't even want to get into that story. Steve. Yeah, dude. Brandon, this has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Steve and I went to the base. Steve Helms over here, Texas legend. He doesn't want to come on the screen. He feels fat. He feels bloated. He's on his period. You're looking very feminine today, Steve. Maybe you'll win the homecoming queen. I wouldn't vote for your for your male ass, fella. We get an Uber last night, Brandon, coming home from the baseball game. And little Hindu guy driving. And he said, "Did you enjoy the concert?" Well, it's a baseball game, buddy. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And we're in his minivan. He never topped on I-30 going to Fort Worth. He never topped 52 miles an hour. Most of it was at 48. I mean, 11:30 at night, people blowing past him.
Did he have like a hoopty, or is he just a
No, it was a minivan.
very cautious driver?
Very cautious. And it was a mom minivan, but he had like a rug that you would get at the Home and Garden Center. Like he had a household rug laid down in the back seat.
Well,
like
Indians do love rugs.
Yeah, they do love their rugs,
historically speaking. Yeah.
And but I don't know. That was neither here nor there. But I'm sitting there going. Like I can see the guy's ID up there. Right. He's got his little ID thing is posted up there, so you can actually see his name. I can verify who he is. It's an amazing thing. This whole ID verification. If I go to the airport, they want to know who I am getting on their airplane. If I get in an Uber, I want to know. They always say, make sure you know your Uber driver's name, and they identify yours before you get in the car with them. It's a funny thing, ID. It's a real interesting thing. Pennsylvania, for instance, just now has passed a bill saying that when you go get your driver's license, you'll automatically be registered to vote. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous. Now, people are going to push back and say, oh, we thought y'all wanted an ID to vote because blah, 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 blah. We do want an ID to vote, but that's very different. We want to identify you when you go to vote to know that that's you, but it's very different when you're automatically registered to vote when you get a driver's license, because that means an illegal, somebody that's not supposed to be voting, can come in, get a driver's license, and guess what? Boom. They're registered to vote. And you say, well, there's safeguards around that. Are there? Are there really? See, ID is an important thing. So this whole nonsense about boys becoming girls and girls becoming boys and trying to, I mean, like, again, if boobs don't make a person a girl, then why are you cutting them off? If testicles don't make someone a boy, why are you cutting them off? But again, it's important that they know who you are. And I'm saying all of that because I'm going to jump into a story in the next segment, and I'm going to bring all of this stuff that I've been saying in this segment to one big bloody whitehead pimple, and we're going to pop that son of a bitch, okay? But we got to go to a break first. Before we do, speaking of bloody pimples, Vladimir Putin, he has called the U.S. dollar's drop in dominance objective and irreversible during the recent BRICS summit in South Africa, as Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa formally agreed to use local currencies instead of the U.S. dollar. It's the first shoe to fall. As demand for the dollar weakens, the buying power of the dollar weakens. That is why Birch Gold Group, man, they're busier than ever. Investors and savers are looking to harness the power of physical gold held in a tax-sheltered IRA. And we can help you do the same thing. If you'll text CHAD, I spell it Chad, to the number 989898, they will send you a free info kit on gold with thousands of happy customers, an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, and countless 5-star reviews. You can count on Birch Gold to help you navigate transitioning an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. As the U.S. dollar continues to receive pressure from foreign countries, digital currency, and central banks, arm yourself with information on how to protect your savings. Text my name, Chad, to the number 989898. Text Chad to 989898 to claim your free info kit right now. We'll be right back. All right, so if you can crown a boy homecoming queen, and men can be women and women can be men, then let's draw it to a logical conclusion, okay? Let's attempt to. It's not logical, but let's take it where it needs to go. That means being a man or being a woman does not matter. Doesn't matter. I mean, is there a fallacy in that? You can pick whatever you want to be. You can bitch about people were fighting in Kansas over whether or not you should be able to change your birth certificate. If you can be whatever you wake up today and decide you want to be. I mean, we got some kid in like Plano over there that thinks she's a cat, and they put a damn litter box in the classroom, in the bathroom, so she could shit in a box. It doesn't matter what you are. So it greatly diminishes womanhood, completely diminishes manhood. That's why I said at the very beginning of the show, men are better than women in every way. Because now men can do whatever women do. And if you listen to the mainstream media, if you watch The View, if you listen to the, quote, science of the day and all the activist groups out there, then men can do whatever women can do, and they're being replaced. So we went down a weird little trend of saying, women are important, women are men, women are important, women should have the same rights as men, women are equal, they should get equal pay, to now we're totally replacing women with men, and now we've gone the exact devolution the other direction. And women don't matter. They not only aren't getting equal pay and equal play and equal rights, they've actually been replaced. So now, enter the story of comedian, podcaster, actor, whatever he is. He's all these things. Russell Brand. Now, Russell Brand is British. Most likely you know exactly who he is. You've seen him. You've heard him. He started speaking out pretty heavily a while back in regards to freedom and government overreach, particularly when it came to COVID and shutdowns and vaccines and pandemics. And, nobody ever really cared about what Russell Brand has ever done until he started speaking out against big pharma and speaking out against censorship, and nobody really cared. Like most people out there would have a hard time naming right off the top of your head a single movie that Russell Brand's been in. You've probably never seen his comedy sets. But then suddenly Russell Brand just he became sort of like Joe Rogan did, just became relevant to popular culture. Well, now 4 women have come out and accused him of rape. He's denied it. All of these accusations supposedly happened over 10 years ago. He's denied it. In fact, hear it from his own voice, from his own mouth. Play the clip.
I've received 2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of. And we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean my voice along with your voice.
All right. So let me just go ahead and make my point real quick and simple before we get into the rest of the story there. What difference does it make? If a man can replace a woman, If a woman can be a man, if the Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown, when she was being asked during her hearing in her confirmation, she says, I'm not a biologist. I can't define what a woman is. I won't define what a woman is. Then why do these women's accusations carry any weight at all? Why is he having to defend himself? Why is he having to explain himself? What difference, to use Hillary Clinton's phrase, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? If we can't make a solid definition of what a woman is and what women are, then how can you accuse him of sexual? Again, because this is very specifically about for, quote, women. Why is this an issue? We don't care about what women are anymore, right? I mean, I'm logically taking this to where illogically their brains already live. But Brandon, they don't think this far through on this deal.
Oh, no, of course not.
They don't think this far through because, again, when a woman, when Kathleen Blasey Ford or whatever comes out against Brett Kavanaugh during his hearing, we had to stop everything, stop the presses, reprogram, and now we got a whole hearing over whether or not he sexually assaulted her at a high school party. What's a woman? If we can't define what a woman is, then these accusations need to go away. Now, again, I know what a woman is, and if these accusations are real, and even further, if they are provable, which I don't think they are, because they never are, then yes, I think people need to be held accountable. Of course, a man should be held accountable for rape. A man should be held accountable for abuse. A man should be held accountable for assault and harassment. Of course, there should be accountability. But it's always interesting to me that you want to sit there. The mainstream says, we don't know what a woman is. A boy can be a woman. We can make a boy the homecoming queen. And we just always knew he just wasn't normal. But then when a so-called normal girl comes out and says, 10 years ago, Russell Brand, he raped me, sexually assaulted me. Well, which is it? Is there women or are there not women? Because I'm confused at this point. I'm trying to follow the logic, and the logic is non-existent. Now, again, whenever a guy like Russell Brand or Brett Kavanaugh or any person has a voice of power that you disagree with, the trend is always the same. Let's trot some chick out from 10, 12 years ago and say, yep, he sexually assaulted me. I mean, I even heard the Krasenstein, I think it was Brian Krasenstein, I read his tweet saying, oh, no, this is why Russell Brand for all these years even wrote a book talking about his sexual promiscuity because he knew eventually this was going to come up. Really? Like your forethought is that insightful and attuned to what's coming that you know that one day accusations are coming. So you know what? Let me just build a career off of talking about what a drug addict and alcohol-fueled sex addict I was. That's just stupid logic. Stupid. So again, they always trot these people out from 10 years ago, and you're like, well, Russell Brand will be fine. Here's the problem, guys. YouTube has already blocked Russell Brand from making money on his channel after the allegations. There's been no trial. There's not even been a court of public opinion yet, just accusations. And they're already demonetized his platform based on accusations. Now, what they've got, they say it's a violation of a creator responsibility policy. That's their terms. That's Google. That, of course, runs YouTube. Creator responsibility policy. So they said that he can't make money off the platform. So the advertisements are embedded. So they'll just keep all the money, by the way. And they say that the rules apply to behavior that happens off the platform. So it's not that he said anything wrong on the platform. No, their assumption is he did something wrong off platform. Well, based off of that, then we need to demonetize every single person on YouTube.
Well, and Chad, what they're going to use this for, in my opinion, is 2024. They're going to go for anybody who said anything about the election off platform.
100%.
They're going to say your behavior is clearly inciting violence. Therefore, we're going to demonetize you for that time
100%.
period.
If you talk about anything, if you question Ukraine, if you question, money that's being spent there, if you question vaccines, if you question COVID variants, hey, can we do a shirt, by the way? Let me talk to Alexander that says new variant BS 24/7, like BS-24/7. That is the new variant. But if you say that, then they'll demonetize you. So, Russell Brand, that's no small thing there. That's 6.6 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. That works out to about $1.2 million a year based on his numbers. So they're going to take that away from him because of an accusation. Let that sink in. Accusation from a woman, for women. We can't define what women are. That to me reminds me, again, as an example, it's a bad example, but you get the point, is people that say you're not using the rules of gender assignment or identity by misgendering me or using the wrong pronoun. But you guys are creating words that aren't even grammatically correct, like je and jim and jure. I'm Z and X and, Latinx and stuff like that. It's like you guys are violating the rules of grammar and then telling me that I'm violating the rules of gender. I have a problem with that. That's similar to this. You want your cake, you want to eat it too. When it's time to trot a woman out there to make an accusation, then she's a woman and she needs to be heard. Remember the whole thing? Believe all women? The Me Too movement that was out there, everybody had pussy hats on walking down the street, and then they threw their hands up, threw the pussy hats in the trash, and went home as soon as they give Woman of the Year to Bruce Jenner. That's where the logic lives, man. It's messed up. Remember when you guys were pissed off because of the whole grab them by the pussy statement? What's a pussy? I mean, what really is a pussy? I mean, if you can cut one off, you can put a penis where one used to be, or if you can build one out of an anus. I mean, what really is a vagina anymore?
That's the philosophical question of the year 2023.
What is a pussy?
Yeah.
And why is that offensive? If anybody can get one, how do you violate one? Because it's not sacred anymore. So I'm going to just take another second here, guys, before we go to a break. If your vagina, this is what we're talking about today. If your vagina, she had a cat named Vagina. I don't know if you know this or not. If your vagina is not sacred anymore, and according to them it's not because they can modify it, a man can have one, then how, if it's not sacred, then how can it be violated by a guy like Russell Brand, who you say, well, he came out and he raped me or sexually assaulted me or whatever? How do you even define rape anymore? You can't. You can't, because you've devalued the sacred honor of femininity. It doesn't exist anymore. So I can do anything I want to do to a woman. Grab them by the pussy. Why are you offended by that? If the sacred honor of femininity has now been diminished to the point where you just do, I mean, all the way down to something as simple as giving homecoming queen to a boy, then what does it mean anymore? Rape doesn't exist. Harassment, assault, those things don't exist. Insulting you as a woman, discrediting you, dishonoring you, doesn't exist anymore. I hope you see where I'm going with that. It's a dangerously slippery slope. And this stuff like this that keeps popping up every time some guy gets close to the truth, where they trot some girls out after 10 years and say, oh yeah, he sexually assaulted me. Where you been for a decade? Where were you? You had nothing to say all this time until suddenly the guy had some questions about Ukraine? Weirdly suspicious. All right. Speaking of 10 years, for the last 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And when I say the only one, trust me, they're the only one. We've been great supporters of Patriot Mobile, and Patriot Mobile's been great supporters of us, and we're proud to partner with them. They offer dependable nationwide coverage, giving you the ability to access all three major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left and its causes. I don't know if you know this or not, but when you pay your cell phone bill, it goes to leftist causes. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you're sending the message that you support things like free speech and religious freedom, sanctity of life, Second Amendment, military, veterans, first responder heroes. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. You keep your number, keep your phone. You can even upgrade. They'll help you do that, and they'll help you find the best plan for your needs. Go to patriotmobile.com/Chad or call them, 878-PATRIOT. You get free activation when you use offer code CHAD. I spell it Chad. And you join me today in making the switch, and Patriot Mobile will take care of you if you go to patriotmobile.com/Chad or call them on the phone at 878-PATRIOT, and we'll be right back. Now that I got you stirred up, let me qualify it a little bit, okay? Because again, a guy can rape another guy. I understand that. You don't have to have a vagina in order to get raped or assaulted. But again, that's not the perspective they're coming from. Because again, their foundation was the whole believe all women thing. No matter what the woman says, you have to believe all women. The point I'm making is they have diminished womanhood to the point of where it doesn't exist, and it certainly doesn't matter anymore. So again, you can't make these accusations from the perspective of violating womanhood and that sacredness of femininity by using the same language they've always used. Now again, rape is wrong, assault, harassment, all those things, wrong. Wrong. Let me go ahead and get ahead of the curve. I've never done anything with a kid. I've never had sex with a man. And I've never kissed a girl that didn't want to get kissed. That's me getting ahead of the accusations when I get close to the truth. Don't raise your hand, Steve. It was consensual with you, buddy. And you were asleep. But you did nod your head in like a little drool coming out of your mouth. You did. I said, Steve, you want one of them chocolate bars? And you're like, ugh. And I videoed you going, ugh, and I gave you a chocolate bar. Yeah. Fetterman gets to dress however Fetterman wants to dress. And what is a Fetterman? What is a Fetterman? Why not a Fetter woman? We don't know. We don't even know if that's Fetterman anymore. The guy keeps just changing, dude. Fetterman gets to go to work however he wants to go to work. He can now wear his gym shorts, his tennis shoes, and his, the guy's mentally ill, right? I mean, there's only one way.
I mean, I don't know if he's mentally ill. I think he's mentally gone.
Yeah.
You have to have a brain to be mentally ill. I think he might be worse than Joe Biden, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he probably is worse. And where's Fetterman's wife and kids? He got elected and poof, they were gone, dude. Like, remember, they were photo ops all the time. But now Chuck Schumer, as a Senate Majority Leader, has now said they can change the dress code. He can dress however he wants to dress. It's the Fetterman rule. You know, I don't know if you guys know this or not, or you know it. I just want to remind you guys that, you know, men and women used to get dressed up to go to baseball games. Go look at those old pictures of Babe Ruth and, you know, Lou Gehrig and even Mickey Mantle. I mean, those guys back in the 50s playing ball, 60s playing ball, and those black and white pictures. Men in their three-piece suits, man, going to a baseball game. Women dressed up. And people used to get dressed up to get on airplanes. Like that was an event. You got dressed up to do these things. There's restaurants that you go to where they say, you got to wear a coat. We'll get one for you if you don't have one, and they'll bring you a sport coat out there. Again, I don't necessarily agree with all of those rules, but there's certain nice restaurants in Fort Worth, Texas. They don't want you wearing a cowboy hat in the building. And, you should never wear a hat in the building, by God. Well, not necessarily true. I disagree with you on that. The Pope wears a hat in church, so. That's another conversation for another day. But Fetterman can go into the United States Capitol as a senator from Pennsylvania wearing a hoodie and gym shorts and no socks and stinky tennis shoes. He had this to say, eloquent. My God, so eloquent, John Fetterman. This is what he had to say on MSNBC. Play clip one.
How things have operated since that deal was a bipartisan deal was struck for certain top line spending numbers for all of the funding bills that have to be passed to make the budget, keep the government running. The Senate has basically been delivering those and passing them by big 91-7 bipartisan majorities. The House today looks like it's falling apart. You've already got 17 no votes in that House Republican caucus saying we're not passing anything. What do you think's happening here?
Yeah, like I truly, I was very proud of my colleagues, because they're really about governance. That's what it is. And on the other, the House, the whatever they call themselves, Team America or whatever they call themselves, I just like, bring your vote. Otherwise, they need to go hump a different leg.
You were in, you drove your, I think it was a Ford from Braddock.
Go hump a different leg. Whatever they call themselves, Team America. What?
This is why I don't really think it matters who runs for president at this point, because that dude won an election.
Sadly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Brandon, because, and again, that's another reason why they fear Donald Trump, because Donald Trump gets elected, he actually wants to run the thing. They don't want anyone who wants to run the thing. Certainly not on the Democrat side. That's why they circle the wagons. If they had some congresswoman getting felt up in a theater, they would immediately circle the wagons and make sure that thing got explained away, swept under the rug, head back in the sand, the whole deal. Lauren Boebert does it, and all the Republicans and conservatives jump on her ass to the point where she comes out and issues an apology, makes an even bigger thing out of it. They would never do that on the Democratic side. I can't recall any time they've done that. But that dress Lauren was wearing.
Honestly, thank God they leaked the footage. In this instance, I'm okay with it. But yeah, you know what Republicans should have done? They should be like, hey, she looked pretty hot in that dress.
Yeah.
And that should have been the end of it.
Yeah.
This dude gets on here and speaks in gibberish, and they're like, nah, he's fine. Let him keep running the state.
Yeah. But, what was actually in that dress? Was it a woman? Is Lauren Boebert a woman? I mean, was there anything? I mean, is there anything feminine in there since we've completely diminished womanhood? I mean, why would anybody be upset about that dress or the fact that someone was grabbing her breasts in a presentation of Beetlejuice?
Well, and as the that trans that was at the White House, the titties alone cannot be an identifier anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
And that surgeon, again, kudos. Those moobs.
Well done.
I'll be the first one to tell you. And I know boobs. Those were good ones. That guy was sporting a good setter. Yeah. But nothing matters anymore. Nothing matters. These are not the droids you're looking for. That's where we're living. It doesn't matter. Okay. Golly. Hey, guys, I came home the other day, and there was a box waiting for me, and I opened it up, and boom, it was a brand new shipment of Magic Spoon. You say, what in the world is Magic Spoon? It's cereal, and it tastes like the stuff you liked when you were a kid, except it's not loaded up on sugar, and it's got a lot of protein. And they've got this variety pack right now. It's got 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. 0 grams of sugar. Got like 13, 14 grams of protein, 4 to 5 net grams of carbs, only 140 calories a serving. High protein, no sugar, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free. You get it at magicspoon.com/Chad. Get the variety pack. Try it out today. Use promo code CHAD, I spell it Chad, at checkout to get $5 off your order. And here's the cool thing. They also have these cereal bars that I have become addicted to. And I feel good eating them because I know they're loaded with protein, and I'm trying to put a lot of protein in my body these days. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. They got 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, you don't have to send anything back. Just tell them, and they'll refund your money with no questions asked. Get your next delicious bowl of high-protein cereal at magicspoon.com/Chad. Use that code, Chad. Save $5, and I promise you're going to love this stuff. Hang tight. We'll be right back. All right, a couple things we need to mention. Ray Epps has been, what's the right term? Indicted? He's been charged. That's the term. He's charged with a misdemeanor of stirring shit up on January 6th. Now, not a felony charge here, not facing 17, 22, 31 years in prison. And people, I see again, Ed Krasenstein was saying, well, you guys who said he was a Fed whatever, still believe he was planted there. That's why it's only a misdemeanor. He's going to get a slap on the wrist. They're like, well, what did he do that was felonious? Well, based off of what everybody else is facing, there's literal video of him telling people we got to go into the Capitol. I mean, we've got to go into the Capitol. Numerous times he said that. Got a message from someone yesterday who wasn't in the Capitol, did not go in the Capitol, and now they've charged him potentially 31 years in prison. I got a text message from his dad yesterday. We're going to get more information on that and share that story when we can. But it's insane what's going on.
Didn't Owen literally get 120 days in jail for this?
Yeah, same thing. Owen Schroyer, who didn't
go in.
Did not go into Capitol. Same deal. So again, something's up. Now on the other news, they finally found that F-35. It was in a field, South Carolina. They found it. So, again, they want your guns. They want to take your AR-15, but they're more than happy to lose a $80 million jet. Stupid. And then Zelensky gave an interview, did his little 60 Minutes deal, put on his, little I'm at war outfit. And they asked him, about what he would do to bring peace when it comes to this war in Ukraine. Play clip number 8. Here's what he had to say.
Can you give up any part of Ukraine for peace?
Ні.
No. This is our
naша
territory. You must have it all, including Crimea.
Сьогодні ми з вами, ви мені про це сказали, ви бачили, я нагороджував людей.
Today, you and you said it to me. You saw me awarding people medals. Well, today is a day like that. A week ago, I gave awards to parents of soldiers who have been killed. There were 24 families of the dead. There was a woman, she was with 3 children. There were parents, very old, they could barely walk, and they had had only one son. One of the women was pregnant. She arrived holding a baby in her arms, and she was pregnant. And that baby will never see. What should I tell them? That all of them died so that we could say, it's okay, Russia, you can take it all.
He speaks English, by the way. I don't understand why I'd do that Anyway. I guess so they could do the voiceover, which was so dramatic. And I guess he adheres to the Fetterman dress code as well. You're going to go give medals and ceremonial awards to families that have lost, loved ones, men in the military, and you can't put on a coat and tie. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it seems awfully disrespectful. But again, the whole point is they're not going to end this. That he's not willing to give anything up to bring peace. And there are those of you out there who say, well, he shouldn't give anything up. I'm not saying whether he should or whether he shouldn't. I'm just telling you, as an American taxpayer, are going to be funding that for a long time to come. A long time to come. Because they're not going to stop. He has found a honey hole of cash. And why would he give up? Why would he stop? Going to keep on going, and this is going to continue to be funded by the American taxpayer. So, don't worry, though. Janet Yellen, she's fine with the economy. I mean, she's happy with it. You keep, Joe Biden just asked Congress for another $25 billion of the World Bank. Ukraine's continually cashing checks. But Janet Yellen, play clip number 4.
I'm pleased by what I see in the economy. I think we're achieving lower inflation, which is, of course, very important to households and a tremendously important objective.
Okay. Very pleased. Are you pleased? Are you guys pleased with it? I mean, again, listen. It doesn't matter what the gas prices are. If you don't go anywhere, just don't go anywhere. It's okay if you eat synthetic meat. If you don't like meat anyway, just don't eat meat. I mean, don't worry about it. Things, doesn't matter what the grocery prices are, just don't worry about food. It's really cool, man. You know what? You guys, you don't even need a house. So don't worry about what your, interest rates are. In fact, listen, here's the thing. If you don't buy anything nice, well, then you don't have to worry about anybody stealing anything. They won't take anything nice if you don't have anything nice. So don't worry about the illegals that are coming in either. Oh, and by the way, they are coming in. We are being invaded by military-age men. Don't believe me? Check this out south of the border. Play clip number 2. Oh, I want you to watch this and tell me, where's the women? Where's the children? Just train carloads of men. Wow. Have you seen clips from that Italian island that is population 6,000 and now 7,000 migrants have got off the boat there? Yeah. That's what you call the downfall of a population and culture right there. Boom, done. And we're just going to sit back and let it happen. For those of you who want to get involved with what's going on at the southern border, specifically at Texas, follow me and my partners at Texans for Strong Borders. You can go to @StrongBordersTX. Follow on Instagram. Follow on Twitter or X, whatever it is, @StrongBordersTX. We're in that fight. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Women, I'm just telling you, and yes, women, if you're listening to this show, you watch the show, you know exactly who you are. Keep your vagina sacred, okay? That's all I'm saying. Don't let them diminish your womanhood anymore. That's the takeaway from this show. I will be in Mills, Wyoming, Friday night. That's right outside of Casper. And I will be in Leeds, South Dakota on Saturday night. WatchChad.com for all the fun stuff has all the information, the ticket links. Come hang out with me. Thank God it'll be a little cooler weather up there. Looking forward to it. Then next week, Granbury, Texas at Granbury Live right there on the square. I'll bring Steve and Ben with me. We'll play a little music, tell a few jokes. It'll be a good time. You can come hang out with us. That's always a sold-out show. So make sure you get your tickets now. WatchChad.com. If you haven't subscribed to The Blaze, go to blazetv.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad. And if you haven't bought that T-shirt yet, go to ChadOnBlaze.com and yuck it up, okay? Tomorrow's hump day. I'm going to see if I can get Sarah Gonzalez in here and get her opinion on some of this nonsense. We'll see you then. Love you. God bless you. Bye.